Throwaway account for obvious reasons. Stick with me, but this is also an answer to the question. When did you first realize the person you were with would never be your wife/husband? I'll answer the question, just keep your pants on. The person I'm about to talk about is the absolute best. She's deeply intelligent, beautiful, charismatic, and odd in the kind of way that it's hard not to pay attention to her. She's almost intimidating in her allure, and I very much felt the crunch early in our relationship. I'd love to tell you more. I want to brag about this person so much because they're the shit, but I'm afraid I'll give too much away, so you'll have to trust me. She's quality, people, and it's not hard to see. I lied to her the first time we spoke. A big lie. A lie I had been telling people for years. I've been calling this kind of lie an identity lie. Ever heard stories about people who, for example, pretend to be Australian for years in a relationship just to reveal everything at the last moment before the wedding? Well, that's more or less me. In the part of the country I'm from, it's odd to look like I do. Most people there are lily white, and I am too, but I'm pretty short, hairy, with curly dark hair and a thick beard that I developed quite early. I wouldn't look out of place at all most places, but in the Midwest I absolutely did. I also had a somewhat odd upbringing. I grew up with VeggieTales, focus on the family, vacation Bible school, and deeply memorizing scripture. We went to church twice on Sunday and Wednesday too. Every week, no exceptions, even on vacation. The church we were a part of has recently been featured on a podcast about cults. I wouldn't say it's a cult, but I wouldn't disagree with anyone who says it is either. My parents, for this reason, really never got out too much and socialized with the parents of my friends at school. No one really knew them. They're not bad people at all, but they're hard to know if you don't speak their very specific dialect of evangelicalese. They also had a paranoia about what things I was absorbing from the secular world. So, in short, I kept them a little bit secret from my friends at school. With parents that no one could understand, and looks that were very much out of place, I did a terrible thing. I invented a story that could explain both, and help me create my own narrative for my life. Here it goes. For my entire high school and college career, I pretended to be Jewish. No one really knew my parents, but when they did on occasion meet them, all they could really tell is that A. They were very religious in an odd way, which I always counted on reading as other, and thankfully it did. B. They also looked pretty out of place in the part of the world we lived in. So really there was no suspicion on that account. No one really knew what a Jewish person was actually like, myself included. So I was in the clear there, and if anyone really questioned, I'd hit them with a whole one half of the Torah, really just the Old Testament, that I had memorized. Now let's answer the question. The day I met the person I'd want to marry, she told me she wasn't from the Midwest, and that her family was Syrian. Then, out of nowhere, without thought, I blurted out, "Oh cool, I'm Jewish." That's the moment I realized that, no matter what, she'd never be my wife. I mean, how does one follow that up with the truth without looking like a manic, insane monkey person? Which was honestly fine at the moment because A. She was too good for me, I could already tell, and B. Because I was planning on leaving that part of the country anyway to make my home somewhere away from the church and the lies and the snow. I told her I was moving like 2 weeks into our dating, and for reasons totally her own and not related to me at all, she told me she was moving too, and as luck would have it, she was moving to exactly the same city I was. Oh fuck. Even more inconvenient was how well we got along. We kept dating, against my better judgment, and got an apartment together. Turns out we were incredibly compatible roommates and things got more serious. We vibed on every level and our relationship grew. I screwed up my courage once a year or so to either end it myself and spare her feelings or to tell her the truth and quietly exit her life, which I thought best. But I was never strong enough. I remember one sunny day, when I felt everything was just perfect, but I couldn't enjoy it because I knew she'd learn the truth eventually, and it would all come toppling down. I decided to set a date and just kill myself. I've never really admitted this before, so I'm letting myself sit for a while before going on. I did set the date. I didn't kill myself. I lived. And unfortunately things got even better. We moved to New York City. She got a fancy degree in a serious field at a big deal college with a full ride. Yeah, she's that cool. And I made damn sure she got everything she needed to finish that degree, and that I was the best partner I could be through it all. But it didn't help. I still felt like it was all one conversation away from going up in smoke. I've identified as a brave person before, but reading back, these are not the actions of a brave man. I wish I could say I finally broke it to her, but I didn't. We even built honesty and trust despite the lie. She met my parents. I told her about my upbringing. My real upbringing in the church, that is. I always had some bullshit to explain how I was still Jewish at the end of the day, but to share my life with her regardless. I hated adding the bullshit. Worse still, I felt like it would spread everywhere without my wanting. I just couldn't outrun this lie. 8 years after we met, we got married on a mountain. 2 years after that, she demanded answers. 1 year later, we're still together. Those last 3 lines deserve more than just a few words and 1 period apiece, but I don't know the end of the story, so I couldn't write more if I wanted to. I'll leave it with this. We're in therapy and also trying for a kid. We're close, emotionally and physically. I love her like a magpie loves a coin. I knew we'd never get married the day we met. And despite my foolishness, my lies, my pride, we did. AITA, no TLDR. Just don't read it if you're not invested. Honestly, it's not Shakespeare.